We're here in a beautiful part of New South Wales, just 20 minutes north of Newcastle. It's an area known for rolling hills and farmland. Yet we're about to visit the factory of Weathertex, an Australian-owned and made cladding company, and one that I use myself. I can see some chimneys over there with smoke coming out, but all I can actually smell is wood chip and mulch. Join me now as we take a walk through this factory to see how their products are made. G'day JZ, how are you, mate?
James, good, thanks.
I'm super excited, looking forward to today to actually come through the factory and have a look and see how a product that I use myself is actually made. I can see all the smoke in the background, so obviously the factory's up and running.
It's running, but that's not smoke, James, that's steam. We're all about sustainability here at Weathertex.
Well, that sounds perfect to me, mate. I'm very excited. Let's go have a look.
Go.
I'll grab my safety gear. Let's go.
So we source our timber from within probably 300 kilometres of the factory, mainly the northeast coast of Australia, where native hardwood timber plantations are grown. And the timber comes in, we chip it through our chipping machine, and we create a bit of a stockpile here.
I can smell it now, like it's...
Smell the phenolics. And
yeah, it smells like fresh mulch, which is almost what it is.
So we comply with PFC, which is a forest management system.
Yep.
We've got to ensure a chain of custody so that the timber comes from sustainable harvesting practices. We have a number of suppliers, so that we audit those suppliers and make sure that they're complying to the requirements, and timber comes in, and that's the start of our process.
So then all that wood chip is brought inside into the factory?
That'll go into this building here. Goes through some screens and whatnot in case there's any debris in the timber, and then up into our gun room.
Okay.
Just through here.
Yeah, great. Let's go have a look.
We're going to see the secret sauce of our production process in a minute, but just to explain how it operates, so we can see visually, we take the wood chip. Yep. Which goes into a pressure vessel at very high pressure and temperature. Yep. That chip gets forced through this grate under very high pressure. Yep. And that obliterates the wood chip into the actual wood fibres. Wow. So that conversion process is really the heart of our production process, which makes Weathertex a very unique product.
So that's when the wax is...
So we add some wax, a little bit of wax, natural wax into the mix. Yes. For a bit of water resistance. So a very natural product. Literally, we're using wood chip and a little bit of wax. There's no resins, there's no glues, there's no other chemicals in our process. It's pretty much 97% timber and 3% wax.
I love it. It's so simple, but so effective. And then all of these panels, they're embossed and pressed through the process.
Yes, we'll see that later on.
I can't wait.
We make the patterns into the product.
Yeah, amazing. I've actually used this product, which I know is external, but I've used it internally, and I've painted it, and it's worked a treat. So I think it's adaptable.
Yes, So, we can have a look at the actual process that does this. Yeah.
Okay, lead the way. So I can see lots of buttons and controls and screens. It's sort of like a set of Doctor Who or Star Trek or something, but tell us what all of this is doing.
Yeah, look, it's not a time machine. It's a control panel that operates our mason guns and converts that wood chip into fibre, timber fibre. Our mason guns are the last mason gun technology. We're the only company, manufacturing facility that has this type of equipment.
So when you say a mason gun, it's a gun. What does it do and where's it from?
So originally invented back in America in the early 1900s by William Mason, why it's called a Mason gun, which is basically just a high pressure vessel. It was a common technology back in the day, but yeah, we're the last remaining factory in the world to be using this technology.
And it's that pressure that's, there it goes.
So, exactly. And the benefit of this type of technology is we don't have to use any chemicals or resins. In other paper manufacturing processes like paper mills and so on, they've got to use treatment processes for the wood chip to break it down into the fibres. So it's not great environmentally, it's not great operationally, where in our case there's no nasty chemicals, it's all natural, it's just steam pressure and wood chip. So yeah, from the mason gun, the timber fibre comes over into some tanks which we mix with water. We use about 1 million litres of water a day. That all gets recycled back. So yeah, all our water that we use in our process, we recapture, goes through a treatment process, and then back into a natural sand aquifer.
And there's heat in there too, I can feel it.
Yeah, so we add heat to heat up the pulp. Yeah. Which helps with our process. So
it's like just a big mushy bowl of wheat bix.
It's a bit like, yeah, a bowl of wheat bix. The consistency's just got to be just right. Yeah. The other thing that happens in our mason gun process is we take out the sugars and starches that termites like. Right. So that's another important feature of our product. It's termite resistant because there's not the things in there that the termites like to eat. So again, part of this process is just separating out the starches and sugars from within the timber, which again gets recaptured. It's a closed loop system. So James, at this part of the process, we're starting to form the shape of the Weathertex product. Okay. So the timber fibre and water come together at the right consistency.
And the wax is already
And the wax is introduced as well and goes on this screen. We've got a vacuum system that's sucking the water out from underneath. Okay. To create enough consistency that it's going through some press rollers.
Ah, so that's sort of squashing it down.
It's squashing it.
Amazing.
So at this point it's probably 50 centimetres in thickness. When we see the end of the process, we're down to 9.5 millimetres. So we're gradually compressing, and taking water out. So at this part of the process, we've squeezed enough water out that it can go on a set of rollers and we can cut the sheets to length. So we have a special water jet cutter that's cutting the lengths of the product.
It's still in a liquid form, I can see it.
Yeah, it's still soft, but it's hard enough that it will go on the rollers and we're able to cut it. So at this point it's probably 60% moisture, but yeah, enough that we can cut it and form it into a sheet. Beautiful. So now, the wet lap is in each opening of the press, and slowly the press will close up, pushing out all the water. The press is at high temperature, it's about 200 degrees Celsius, so that'll cook the sheet. And the reason why we don't have to use any glues or resins is because the natural lignin in the timber is still there, but under heat it glues the fibres back together again.
Yeah, wow.
So the natural resin in the timber acts as a glue. So now we'll see that the water's starting to come out as it closes up. make two products. We make a natural product, which is just a natural timber
The brown
finish,
product.
and we also make a pre-primed product. So we're putting a paint primer onto the plank. So for the customer, it's already pre-primed.
It's a faster process installation for paint.
Exactly. So for the customer, they just need to put on their final paint application.
Great.
And actually, some customers think it's a final coated product, but it's not. It's just a primer. So, yeah, we use a vacuum coater to put a very light film of primer on.
It looks pretty consistent. It almost looks glass-like on top.
And that's the benefit of a vacuum coating process, is it creates a very consistent, uniform paint coating. So James here, each plank is going through an infrared oven. So that's doing an initial cure of the paint, the paint primer. So yeah, each plank's just coming through, having that initial curing time before it then goes into another oven for final.
Even here I can see how smooth and consistent the surface is. It's great. Might get a bit of a suntan here at the same time.
Could well do. So this is the end of the paint line. At this point, our guys and girls that are operating the equipment, they're doing an inspection process. So they're not just manually stacking the sheets.
It's quality control.
Yeah, it's quality control. So they're looking for defects, blemishes. Even though we're putting a primer on the product, we're treating it like it's a finished product.
Sure.
So yeah, we just need to make sure that the surface is uniform, there's no defects. A1 quality product.
I think it's amazing for so much automation, but to still have the human contact. Like, it is important, because then we get it on a job, or on a job, a client's project, and that one little board, you know where it's going to go, right next to the front door, or where it's going to be seen. So this is really important.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they don't have technology that can do this at the moment.
That's good. I like that. We can't be replaced with AI, not just yet.
Yeah, no AI yet.
Well, mate, I think this is the perfect place to wrap things up. It's utterly exciting to come here to see how a product that I use myself is made. It's so sustainable right from the initial outset, from the timber, the process, the recycling of the water. I love the whole process of being able to see it in the factory, and it is still a great smelling factory. Even with all those machines running, it smells like a pile of mulch. It's been an utterly enlightening, a really positive experience.
Yeah, look, all our product is here ready to get shipped all around Australia and around the world.
And probably to one of my projects, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Well done. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Jason, it's great to be here actually at the factory now. I'm really familiar with Weathertex. I've used it on a few of my own personal projects, and I spec it for clients. But tell us a little bit about the history of the business.
Sure. Weathertex over 60 years old, 97% hardwood, 3% wax. It's a sustainable product. No resins, glues, formaldehydes, or silica. So a real user-friendly product for the architects and designers like yourself who wish to specify the product, but more importantly for the carpenters and builders on site cutting.
Well, I first came across it because I love the range of the different profiles. So it gives me options from a designer point of view, but also the sustainability. Now, this was quite amazing for me because I'm used to cladding products that are made from different materials, but I think this is amazing. It's pulped hardwoods mixed with 3% wax, and that's it. So it's amazing from a sustainability point of view.
The only ingredients in it, hardwood and 3% wax. And many years ago, we decided to get third-party certification because we knew we had a better than zero carbon footprint, but that's us telling the world. So we decided to go out to Global Green Tag to get a third-party certification. We're the first manufacturing company globally to achieve the platinum certification on our natural range of products and a gold certification for our primed range of products.
The prime products have already come, so they've got that prime finish. It's
Yes.
easy to paint and finish, but the natural products I actually love for all of the texture.
Yes.
You've got lots of options within the range, and I know that what's interesting is that the products are, the profiles rather, are embossed into the material when it's made. I think of it like big slabs of almost mushy wheat bix,
Yes.
and it's embossed to become the boards. It's a fantastic product because there's no waste.
We've got the woodsman profile, which you're talking about. We
Yeah.
also have a rough sawn profile.
Sure.
And then we have just a smooth profile, which we prime and let the customer paint whatever colour they want. The other one too, which is important, we're on a third-party certification most recently, is we got Declare label. And again, we're the only cladding manufacturer has the Declare label, which is a transparency of what our ingredients are.
Okay.
And because it's 97% hardwood, 3% wax, we're quite happy to volunteer. And so it just gives the specifier more confidence of this Declare label of the ingredients of our product.
What I love is understanding what it's made from, but I think these days, to be truly sustainable, we want to understand how the factory works and,
Yes.
and the processes. So what I love about your setup here is that we're backing onto amazing bushland.
Yeah.
You've got a natural spring.
Yes.
So you pull the water out of the ground, you use it through the process, and then that water is squashed out of the product when the profiles are made. It
Yeah.
goes through filtration, and then it's
Goes back
sprinkled back into the forest. It filters back through the ground, through Mother Nature. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost the perfect sort of cycle of being able to be sustainable.
It's such a unique manufacturing process, and we're also very transparent around the manufacturing process. We've got a 5.5-minute video on our website. It's available to anyone to have a look at.
Sure.
And we do many factory tours for architects, designers, builders, and our reseller network.
I think it's great because people want to understand that knowledge, and even me as a designer,
Yes.
I want to know from a specifier point of view, because now the clients are starting to demand and ask those questions, which
Yes.
is great because we're all sort of becoming aware of what we need to do.
Yeah.
A great thing that I think is just sort of a little side arm of the business here is that you are a great local employer. Like over 85% of your employees actually also live locally. So
sure.
there's low transport costs. Like, it's a really big overlay once you start to understand all of the options to make a business sustainable.
Around 150 people we employ locally. We have 16 BDMs around the country creating demand for the product. And I think the other important point too, James, is as a local Australian family-owned manufacturing business, we export. So around 15% of our business we export around the world to 15 different countries,
Amazing.
which is, we're really proud of.
I think it's great for us to be able to export, for an Australian-owned business to export globally,
Sure.
but also to be aware of what is made locally, because then at least we know the control can be certified and justified, because sometimes there is a little bit of greenwashing in products. We don't
Absolutely.
always know where they come from.
Yes.
The wood pulp, the hardwood that goes into manufacturing the boards,
Yep.
all of that comes from certified forests and plantations as well.
All PFC certified,
Yeah.
and we bring it in from around 150 k's locally. But it is really important. A lot of people import a lot of products.
Yeah.
As an Australian-owned business, exporting is we're really proud of.
I think it's clever how all of that wood pulp, because that hardwood is like mushed up to make that wheat bix product that I sort of
Yes.
get where you make the boards. There is basically no waste with that, but I know sometimes some timber is rejected through that
Sure.
process.
Yep.
So that is then now diverted off to packaging. So
Correct.
you're really cleaning up the model from what is essentially an environmental product that's been environmental for like 40 years.
We put it back into packaging, and the other product we do, which we don't promote, is an underlay product. It's for flooring distributors.
Okay.
So it's another part of our arm that we send out, which is just another little part of our business.
I'm using some profiles at the moment. I know that you're changing these. The great thing about being able to emboss or route to create the profiles is the options.
Yes.
For me, I can use that vertical board, but use it horizontally.
Yep.
It's pretty exciting. You've got a pretty good research team or design
Sure.
team to be coming up with the new profiles.
Our product development team and R&D and marketing team are constantly looking for new profiles. And the other good part about that, because we're 9.5 mil thick, you can interact different profiles with the accessories that we have. So you can bring a panel board into a plank and create different profiles like you mentioned.
A great ability of the boards is that they can also be bent, and
Yes.
I think that's important because curves are back in. It's great for me, you don't have to worry. But on some sexy Australian architecture,
Yeah.
curves externally and internally have become
Yes.
sort of part of the statement of some architectural design.
And we've had it tested as well, so there's this design detail for everyone around the curves and the nature of the curves. And the other thing with prefabricated buildings becoming quite popular in Australia at the moment with the housing supply, is our product gets used a lot because of the density of it. Sure. So it doesn't break and crack, and people can put it on trucks and transport it to the building site. So a lot of unique features that Weathertex has.
I love it from a building point of view, but I also love it from a renovation point of view.
Yes.
I think adding cladding can be applied to an existing surface. So for me, I work in new building with a lot of my clients, but I renovate and I love it. And being able to apply that to an existing finish is like an instant transformation. Yeah. And as I tell my clients, at the end of it, this is what I love about your product. I could take that off the wall and put it through the wood chipper and throw it straight on my garden because there's no glues, there's no nasty chemicals in there. It's essentially wood pulp and wax. Like, it's that simple.
A sustainable cladding option at no extra cost.
I love it. Well, Jason, it's been great to be here, mate. I love walking through the factory. I've got to say, out of any space, there's so much machinery and things happening, and yet I can't smell any sort of oil or machinery. All I can smell is like mulch. It smells like I'm in the forest.
Yes.
But also it's great for me as a designer to see the profiles and now how it's made, to know it's truly sustainable. It's such a great product.
Thanks for coming. Great to see you again, James.
Thanks, mate.
Bye-bye.